Bounding, also top 10 in block shots. Kip Kissinger, Ray Natilli, Tony Padilla, the officials today. As Texas Tech wins the opening tip. Elijah Hawkins leads the Big 12 in assists per game, better than 6 a contest. Toppin almost lost it there. Hawkins able to recover it after the deflection. Under 10 to shoot. Darian Williams launching a three. He struggled shooting the last couple of games, although it's been encouraging for Tech that they have still won despite those struggles.
Well, he is still such a unique, difficult matchup for opposing defenses. And if you're Oklahoma State, you don't want today to be the day he gets going again on the offensive floor.
You see the Oklahoma State lineup. Bryce Thompson on a heater coming in. 15 plus each of the last 4. A strip, a steal for Texas Tech and Hawkins. And Hawkins launching. Oh, way off. He's actually 1 for his last 13 from downtown after a nice hot stretch. Chance McMillan, much better from downtown. One of the very best in the nation at 47%.
Well, Tech gets the broken floor off that long offensive rebound. And Hawkins right there, under control, gets to the heart, little penetrating kick outside.
Now, Oklahoma State coming off the loss to Arizona on Tuesday. Robert Jennings II, the former Red Raider. Man, is he fired up to be here today. Spent the last 2 years here in Lubbock.
And he had a great reception from his former Red Raider teammates. We were out here early, and when Jennings walked in, they all ran up and gave him a big bear hug.
Toppin had it knocked out of his hands. It'll stay at this end. Yeah, Steve Lutz, Oklahoma State's head coach, told us yesterday, of course, Robert Jennings is fired up to be here today. Got a lot of friends and family in attendance, and he wants to also show Texas Tech what exactly they're missing. Oklahoma State forcing the turnover. They do that better than just about everybody in the league, and they score in transition with Arturo Dean.
Well, biggest concern when you play Oklahoma State is them disrupting you, or either taking quick shots or you turn it over. Grant McCasland obviously talked to you and I about that, because once they do get in the open floor with numbers, they're terrific.
McMillan drops in another triple. He's got all 6 for Tech.
Boy, just an elite shooter. 47% from 3 on the year. What's interesting, he struggled through their first 5 games in Big 12 play from long range, but the last 2 has shot it much, much better, more McMillan-like.
Jennings trying his hand at a 3. He's only hit 5 of them all season. Williams the skip, Curran Walton launching. That's good. So 3 threes for Texas Tech in the first 3 minutes.
Well, when you play Tech, at any time Grant McCasland might have 4 Red Raiders that shoot it very well from long range, especially when they get that open look.
I mean, there's a reason they're top 10 in the nation in Ken Palm's offensive efficiency metric. They rank best in the Big 12 in that category. Here's Thompson from the outside. Left it short. Usman the offensive board. And Jennings chases it down. Six to shoot for the Pokes. Jennings in traffic. Hawkins swipes it. Walton, the sidestep. Got another one. It's all from the perimeter for Texas Tech in the early going. Thompson gets knocked down. Foul is called.
Well, Tech, a little bit of a delay right there to dig down on Jennings by Hawkins. And then you find Walton in transition, who has been a tremendous, consistently good three-point shooter his entire career, 42%. And again, when you forget about a guy like Walton because you concentrate on so many others, he certainly can knock those open looks down.
And it's got to feel good for Walton, whose minutes are dwindling, hasn't scored the last 2. McMillan a miss. Where is that this season? Out of bounds to Oklahoma State. And we've got a timeout. So a 12-4 lead for Texas Tech. They're second in the Big 12 in threes per game. How about 4 of them in the first 4 minutes at home? Kerwin Walton played only 9 minutes in the Tuesday win over Cincinnati for Texas Tech. He actually hasn't scored the last 2 games. This has got to feel good. He and Chance McMillan dialed in early.
Well, McMillan's elite, coming off 17 points, 3 3-point makes at Cincinnati on Tuesday. And then Walton, you mentioned, being rewarded here tonight, got an open look early. Now he feels it, knocks down the second one. And this is why Tech can survive games. Just when Toppin doesn't get 15 or Darian Williams struggles like he has the last couple of games, because you have so many other players. This team literally has 6 guys, in my opinion, that could pop you for 20. And then you add the improved end of the defensive side, makes Tech so difficult. You look at their win, Ted, at Cincinnati. They made 12 threes. They had a +7 board advantage, and they only turned it over 8 times. And so you throw solid defense in there. Tech is definitely a rising ball club.
Tech with the 4 threes early on. Thompson got bottled up. Keller the spin, and a foul called. Federico, the pit transfer reaching in.
And I think also what you're seeing with Tech, in their 8-player rotation, we talk so much about roles being defined, but you have to integrate them together. And defensively, as a group, they're better. Offensively, especially with Hawkins' improved play over the last month in terms of decision-making and when to attack, when not to. You see all that working together well.
Keller knocks down a 3 for Oklahoma State. The Cowboys, they hit under 7 of them per game. Worst mark in the Big 12. But Jermiron Keller is more than capable.
Yeah, and he's really talented. I think Steve Lutz and his staff feel like there is more there that he can give. Not only offensively, but also defensively.
Williams trying to lob it to Federico, and a foul as Federico was impeded. And you see Steve Lutz, year 1, known as a program builder. He's coached in the NCAA tournament each of the last 3 years with Texas A&M Corpus Christi twice, Western Kentucky last year. He said it to us yesterday, Brendan, my team is all over the map. He knows he's got a streaky bunch.
Yeah, one thing about Steve Lutz, if you've been around him, he's very honest, but he's also realistic about where this ball club is. And there's times that they defend well, times that they do not. But still trying to find consistency within individuals each and every game.
Williams on the drive, and Williams scoops it in. Darian Williams is such a tough cover.
Well, just a big guard that makes enough threes to make you respect him, drives it with strength, and even will post when he has a matchup advantage.
Keller wants another 3. Short this time. Now Texas Tech, 26th in the AP poll, technically, if it stretched that far. Overton off target. McMillan sticking with the play for the putback.
And that's not uncommon. At 6'3", Chance McMillan, an excellent rebounding guard, but many, many times, you'll see him 2-3 times a game get that offensive board.
And Keller throws it away. Miscommunication there with Brandon Newman. Now, if Texas Tech is able to win today, you'd have to think come tomorrow afternoon, they'll be ranked in the AP top 25 for the first time this season. They're 25th in the coaches poll right now.
Well, Grant McCaslin has won everywhere he's been. Terrific at North Texas. And if you watch his teams, it's common that they continue to get better and better at both ends of the floor as the season progresses.
Williams missed the turnaround. He says, my team is embracing making it difficult on the opponent at this end now. They weren't doing that early on, especially in the conference opener when they gave up 87 in a loss to UCF. That was a wake-up call for them.
Well, Johnny Dawkins did a great job of attacking individual defenders.
Nice pass inside, and Khalil Brantley, who missed the last game with a knee injury, scores it.
Did a much better job, Oklahoma State right there, not taking a quick shot early on. Good ball movement, nice backdoor cut right there. Much better offensive possession.
Christian Anderson, the freshman, making headlines as of late. On the take, foul called. Anderson had 18 in the win over Cincinnati.
There's that last possession, Ted. Backdoor cut by Brantley. Defender on the weak side loses sight. Now you talk about Anderson. Watch him play. Number 4 up there in white for Tech. Most freshmen are not ready physically. And he enjoys the contact, looks to absorb it at both ends. And that's one of the reasons. I mean, obviously he's talented. They love that about him, but he's physical as a freshman.
Brantley trying to dig into Toppin, forcing the tie-up. Oklahoma State ball thanks to the arrow. Now you see the numbers from Tuesday night in Cincinnati for Christian Anderson. Hit 4 threes, got to the line, and was really their best player on the floor.
Double-figure score in Big 12 play. And shoots it great. And part of the reason he shoots it 50% from 3 in Big 12 play is he takes good threes. He's not a freshman that hunts shots.
Newman on the move, and he banks it home. Brandon Newman, the veteran, transfer from Western Kentucky, followed Steve Lutz from Purdue to Western, now to Oklahoma State.
Yeah, much better cutting the last couple possessions for Oklahoma State.
Toppin couldn't finish inside. And a walk by Brantley. He's incredulous, but it's a turnover. You know, Steve Lutz is talking about his streaky team. The hot streaks show you what this team is capable of, but the cold streaks are getting them beat right now in the Big 12.
Yeah, and when momentum has gone south with this ball club, they haven't done the things necessary to stop that. Look, it's going to happen to even the better teams in this league, where opponents are going to go on runs. It doesn't matter if you're Kansas, Houston, Iowa State, or whoever, but you have to go back to the defensive end of the floor and that toughness part. And when Oklahoma State has been good and hung with good people in this league, it's when they've been guarded defensively. But right or wrong, you can't take defensive possessions off in the Big 12.
JT Toppin getting a fresh wrap. He'll stay in. Now Tech started white hot. 4 threes, 2 by McMillan, 2 by Walton. Now Williams wants a 3. Usman can hit it, and he does. That's a triple. Now 8 of 13 from downtown for the big man.
That happens because Avery sprints the floor, flattens out the defense, and so Usman able to step into that trail 3.
Toppin down low. He scores.
Yeah, just so tough.
Now Usman on the block. Oh, the quick spin against Toppin, and he draws the foul. That close to a chance at 3. We've got a timeout.
With 10, JT Toppin, projected first-round NBA draft pick. Athletic, Grant McCasland can move him everywhere. Certainly will finish those.
The Commanders had a 3-0 lead. Now 7-3. Eagles on top in the NFC Championship. Later today, all these Texas Tech fans wearing the number 15 jerseys. Yeah, they'll be rooting for the Chiefs against the Bills in the AFC Championship.
Well, anytime we're here, you can always count on multiple Mahomes jerseys. But today, I started looking around in 3-game warm-ups. I think I counted like 13 or 14 of them. You've seen many of them right in front of you. But no, that's such a cool connection and story. But you and I were talking today. You know, Patrick Mahomes loves Texas Tech. He loves Red Raider Nation. He loved his time here in Lubbock. And the one thing with the transfer portal this day and age is there's not as much of that. He grew here, he developed here, and I think that makes it even more special because with the portal, we're losing a little of that with these young athletes.
And the other side of it is the story of Abu Usman. You saw his journey from North Texas to Xavier to Oklahoma State, and he has taken advantage of the opportunity. But yes, it was very different when Mahomes was here in Lubbock and made his name. Nice job by Oklahoma State to crawl back in after that early three-point barrage by Tech. Toppin inside. Federico, the offensive rebound. And Walton left it way short. Out of bounds. And last touch by Oklahoma State.
And a pretty good job by Oklahoma State because what Grant McCasland does a terrific job of is when they get a switch they like, they recognize it immediately. And you had Davis on top and inside, but a nice job of Oklahoma State rotating over defensively.
There's another three for Chance McMillan, his third.
But the problem is, you get the stop, you have to secure the defensive rebound because an offensive team like Tech inevitably will make you pay on a second chance opportunity.
Millen with 11, the first player in double figures. Usman against Federico. Walton came with the late double. And it'll stay with the Cowboys, under 4 to shoot.
Yeah, here's that play from McMillan. And Davis, honestly, just a step slow. I thought he got hung up on a screen, but it's just McMillan, a hard cut over there. And as you know, Ted, a guy like that does not need much room to get in rhythm and knock down those shots.
He really has leveled up in year 2 at Texas Tech after the 3 years at Grand Canyon. Late in the shot clock here into Usman. Newman didn't even put it up. A shot clock violation.
Yeah, just as a group, you have to be aware, particularly those guards out front, those shot clock situations. See frustration right there with Steve Lutz. You know, Dean and Bryce Thompson, they have to communicate with one another prior to even throwing the ball in bounds.
Toppin gathering. And in the other way, a turnover.
You know, Tech got off to that great start, hitting those 4 quick threes. But one thing Oklahoma State has done since the game settled in a little bit defensively, if they've gotten Tech in the half court, they're doing a pretty good job of keeping things in front. Steve Lutz talked to you and I extensively about that, particularly on the perimeter. They want to pressure. They want to be better at containing the ball up front, staying between your man and the basket.
Newman got cut off. Thompson launches. That's a swish and a triple for Bryce Thompson.
And Thompson has been really good offensively, Oklahoma State as of late. For the first time in his career during Big 12 play, he's scored in double figures in 5 straight. A much better job playing within the offense and getting downhill as we get into the line quite a bit as well.
Hawkins late in the shot clock, gets fouled. Yeah, maybe that shot by Thompson will help him out because Steve Lutz told us yesterday if he's not hitting shots early, it really dictates how the rest of his game goes.
Right there, just the ball finds him. Nice little job by Dean. You know, one dribble sometimes is all it takes. You draw some help and you kick. and he's only taken 12 threes in those 5 games. So he's not settling out there, and that's what's made him more productive offensively.
Anderson looking to create. Finding Darian Williams. Bullseye. Another 3.
So many weapons. I mean, they are so effective together offensively.
And now a steal. Williams on the break. Hawkins fakes the pass. Loose ball. Federico hits the deck with Thompson. Jump ball. And Texas Tech has it.
Well, this is the 6th three-point make from Tech already ready here this afternoon. This one's Williams right here. Get the drive by Anderson, but a great job of the freshman playing off 2 feet, not getting up the air or up in the air where he has nothing to do with it. Keeps his options open, and Williams a tray from the top.
You see how Texas Tech has done its damage from the outside here today. Williams trying to take Jennings inside. And Jennings playing it well. And
one of the things Steve Letts told us too with Williams, even though he has struggled offensively the last couple of games, very concerned about him. He wants to keep his 4s on Williams. In other words, a Sumnick, Jennings, Chichi Avery, and not switch off of him.
Dane tries a 3. And here comes Anderson. McMillan lost it. And heading the other way.
Well, this Oklahoma State team, after a slow start, I mean, they're giving tremendous effort. You can see when you talk about teams, right? You say disrupting, what does that mean? But they're doing a great job of being there on the catch out on the perimeter. And then you throw in the fact that I think that so far they're containing well out front. Certainly makes them effective. Now what's got to improve is what Steve Letts' #1 concern was coming in is finding three-point shooters. It's great to keep in front, but you got to get the shooters and be there on the catch.
Yeah, that was item #1 on the scouting report. But to your point about effort, remember the conference opener when Oklahoma State lost to Houston and Kelvin Sampson was so complimentary of OSU after the game, saying that no team is going to play harder than a Steve Letts team. They're going to make some noise. They're going to beat some people along the way, Oklahoma State. 5 to shoot here. Jennings lost the handle. And a turnover.
Yes. Speaking of defense right there, that was excellent by Tech. Sound keeping Oklahoma State in front.
How about the first half from Chance McMillan so far? Almost half of the Red Raiders' points as he's lighting it up from the outside.
Going here in the first half offensively. A couple of quick threes got him in rhythm. Here's one off the underneath out of bounds play. Catch and shoot. By that time, it doesn't matter how well you guard him. He already has tremendous feeling. The one thing about him, obviously the bread and butter or the elite part of his offensive game is the ability to knock down threes. But inside the arc, he shoots 64% on the year. And so even when you run him off or you defend well there, he has the ability to get deep and make shots. And so when you look at his point production, it's so efficient. Today, 11 points on 5 attempts so far.
There are no bad shots coming off the hand of Chance McMillan. He's 55% on the year. As a guard to shoot that well, and almost 50% from 3, it really is remarkable. Under 10 to shoot here. Williams got bumped by Jennings. Couldn't put it in. Dean wheeling inside. And cleared by Kevin Overton, the Drake transfer.
Yeah, Dean right there at his size, unless he's wide open. And he's not a guy that's going to finish at the cup right there. You want to drive it, obviously, Ted, put pressure on the defense. But it's more of drive to get the help. He did that very well against Arizona on Tuesday night. Good floor game. Had 6 assists and 1 turnover, by the way.
Really the defensive catalyst, nation's active leader in steals, and he forces a jump ball here.
Yeah, another great job by Oklahoma State. And when they get that ball screen up high on the floor extended, Steve Lutz is going to go ahead and have his players go hard trap. See Dean right there, Sumnick, keep Anderson in the trap, defend without fouling, use their size to force the turnover.
Patrick Sumnick inside, banks it in, and a timeout for Texas Tech. Oklahoma State sticking with this one, down 3, under 7 to play in the first half. It's that grit, it's the effort. Not always pretty from Oklahoma State, from what we've seen early on in Big 12 play, but surviving that early storm from Texas Tech from outside the arc and down by 3. Well, in Los Angeles County, we are still learning about the full scope of damage from the wildfires, and we ask for your help. You can donate at redcross.org/ESPN to help the Red Cross respond and help people recover. Ted Emmerich, Brendan Manzer with you here in Lubbock. 6:46 to play in the first half. Texas Tech on a 3-game win streak. Up by 3 over Oklahoma State.
Yeah, and Oklahoma State shooting 53% from the floor. I mean, you look at their game Tuesday night against Arizona. They scored 78 points, shot 46 from the floor. The problem was you gave up 92. Now, Arizona very good offensively, a lot like the Red Raiders. But Oklahoma State defensively also, in my opinion, has been much better once they've gotten Tech in the half court, keeping things in front.
Foul called on the floor against Federico, and that's his second for Texas Tech. And yet, to your point, at 92, Oklahoma State gives up a season high in points. And Steve Lutz said, you score 78 in the Big 12, you expect to win. Right. We have to want to guard. And you're seeing just a little more of that here today, despite the threes from Tech. Sumnick trying to establish position against Toppin. Sets the screen for Thompson, and Bryce Thompson banks it in.
That is the difference right there. That, in a nutshell, is what Bryce Thompson has become and is becoming over the last handful of games.
Overton on the attack, and Overton flips it in.
Great job of Overton right there, being decisive once that gap opened up.
Dean the skip. Jennings wants a 3. Long rebound, Dean. Oh, a laser pass right through the hands of Sumnick. A little too hot to handle, and it's a turnover.
Yeah, here's the drive. Really no screen is established. In fact, he rejects it off Sumnick. Drives it with strength. And right there, you also notice his eyes were up. And that's a thing that Oklahoma State head coach Steve Lutz and their staff have talked to Thompson about. Hey, we want you to get downhill, but your eyes have to be up as teams rotate over. In that case, they do not. And the numbers tell the story right there, the last 4.
And what was impressive about that play is he was still in a lot of traffic and was able to finish. Toppin looking for an outlet, finds Overton. Hawkins 4 to shoot against Thompson. The laner, and it goes! It's a long 2 for Elijah Hawkins. He'll take it.
Well, a great job right there, Hawkins. making something out of nothing. Actually, a very good defensive stand from Oklahoma State. We'll take that if you're the Cowboys.
First points of the game for Elijah Hawkins. Averages 9 per. Thompson lost it. And another turnover for Oklahoma State, number 9.
Yeah, right here. Wasn't able to turn the corner, gets Thompson off balance, and that's all you can do is give it a chance. Hawkins does and makes good. You know, to me, of all the players on Tech, at both ends of the floor, Ted, Hawkins' floor game offensively, and then his improvement on the ball defensively, his willingness to defend through the entire possession, he's been the most important piece to Tech's continued progress.
Now Hawkins off the spin. Tried the circus shot with the left. Loose ball scooped up by Brandon Newman. Numbers for the Pokes. And Newman's headed to the line.
Well, you can see right there, Oklahoma State's guards are quick as a group. We're talking about Dean and Brantley, Keller. And that's why they're successful when they run. It's just not getting the stop or creating a turnover. They're good at it. The problem is, can they get those opportunities or not? And you're just not going to turn people over in this league very often at a high rate. So you have to get stops defensively. And when Oklahoma State does that, they're fine. When they do not, it affects both ends of the floor for them.
Now, last year, Western Kentucky, with Steve Lutz as the head coach, they went to the NCAA tournament for the first time in 11 years. They led the country in tempo, according to Ken Palm. He says the only way we were able to do that is by playing defense. That's what I'm trying to get from this team, because we are at our best when we play fast. Anderson, the freshman, against Newman, the veteran. Now Toppin, late in the shot clock against Sumnick. And Toppin uses the window.
Yeah, he's just so tough right there. And the challenge is, I mean, if you dig down on him, you have these excellent shooters out there on the perimeter. So Toppin also noticed he had great shot clock awareness. Knew he had plenty of time to continue to get deeper in the lane on Sumnick.
And now a travel against Chi-Chi Avery in Oklahoma State. Turnover number 10 for the Cowboys.
JT Toppin, isolated here, does a great job. Strength, gets himself back over that right shoulder, which he's pretty much money.
Man, what a way to tip off February, right? Game day for Duke and Carolina, round 1. John Calipari going back to Lexington for the first time. Kansas Baylor, just a loaded Saturday coming up next weekend. Late first half here in Lubbock. Ted Emmerich, Brendan Manzer with you. Oklahoma State hanging in there. Despite 10 turnovers, despite 6 threes by Texas Tech, when Oklahoma State has held on to the ball, they've shot it well, especially as of late. Christian Anderson knows how to shoot it well. The freshman puts it in.
Yeah, it just well sought right there by Tech. Saw Oklahoma State coming a 1-3-1, basically half-court look. Not much pressure there, and Anderson wide open at the top of the key.
Newman misses. The rebound out to Khalil Brantley. And a fresh shot clock. Usman. Trying to contort his body there. Drew the foul against JT Toppin.
Here you go right here. And then as soon as you trap, a lot of space in between defenders to be able to recover. Here's Anderson, the freshman again. We talked about it earlier. I mean, he just takes really good shots. I mean, very seldom can he be accused as a young player of taking a marginal look. And that's another part that's impressive about him, is just his maturity and feel for this level of major college basketball at such a young age.
Usman at the line here, much improved compared to the early part of his career. 71% this season as a fifth-year senior. He was at just 58% his first 4 years. Hoping to split the pair here.
And Oklahoma State played admirably, right? It's a 4-point game at 28-24, but very important stretch right here. For Steve Lutz, obviously, you'd like to close the half in a positive manner, regroup, and have some good things to talk about, but enough time for Tech to stretch it out.
Hawkins, no, Federico with the follow.
Boy, Federico did a great job right there, following the flight of the ball. It hit the front of the rim, and it came off softly right to him. It's a big offensive possession for Oklahoma State. The game starting, as I just mentioned, to get away from it.
Biggest lead of the game for Texas Tech. Into the hands of Usman. The spin against Federico. Man, is he so quick on the catch.
Yeah, and Grant McCasland, who helped tutelage him in that post move, talked about how quick when he catches and makes that spin move. Federico, quite honestly, wasn't ready. When he catches Usman inside, you got to give a little bit of a cushion. You become much like a perimeter defender for Federico, where you have some space to move your feet and cut him off.
And again, McCasland so familiar with Usman, coaching him 3 years at North Texas. Was part of that NCAA tournament team in 2021 that beat Purdue. Steve Lutz, now the Oklahoma State coach, and Usman's coach was on the staff under Matt Painter at that time. Brandon Newman was on that team. Can connect all the dots over the years in college basketball. Williams short, and the rebound for Thompson. Tech gets back defensively. Keller probing, 7 to shoot. Trying to find the cutting Dane. Hawkins stepped in front, and a foul is called.
Yeah, Oklahoma State right there, a really small lineup. Essentially you have Jennings at the 5. And as the possession progressed, you're wondering, when are they going to get in some rhythm? So you talk about the turnovers, Ted. What's that now for Oklahoma State? It's 11. And most of them have been careless. You've had some walks out front. Right there, hey, even if Dean can catch that, what is a 5'9" guard going to do with it amongst the trees, catching it in the paint?
Hawkins under 6 feet himself, offline. And man, doesn't that tell the story for Oklahoma State? Timeout called with under 40 seconds. More turnovers than made field goals for the Cowboys, who call the timeout. So yeah, back to 2021, and in the bubble in Indianapolis, North Texas, a 13 seed. Mean Green grabbing headlines. Grant McCasland, the head coach. Abu Usman, a freshman on that team, came off the bench, battling Zach Edey and company with Purdue. A 78-69 win. Lutz, an assistant coach for Purdue at the time. Brandon Newman was on that Purdue team as well. And now Usman, coached by Steve Lutz, as Usman faces his former coach in Grant McCasland.
Yeah, Usman played on 3 excellent teams there in Denton at North Texas for Grant McCasland. He was a big part of that. You mentioned the 2001 NCAA tournament right there. Won an NIT championship a couple of years ago. And you could tell the sincerity and pleasing thoughts that Grant McCasland has for the year that Usman has had. I mean, he has been really good. 15-7 over his last 6 games, and he's been tough to stop inside for virtually every Big 12 team.
Under 10 to shoot here. Usman, Thompson, the fall away 3. Usman fighting for it. And a foul called. That'll put Oklahoma State in the bonus here with 18 seconds remaining in the half. And so Federico picks up his third personal.
Yeah, and that's big because of he and Toppin, Federico, a much better defensive post player. And Oklahoma State can kind of survive this last 18 seconds. Come out the second half, Federico has 3 fouls. And Usman a chance to attack the interior of Tech.
Oh, but Usman uses the front end. Tech ball, shot clock dark. Anderson storming to the cup for 2. The secret is out on Christian Anderson. He's a star on the rise here in Lubbock, and Texas Tech matches its largest lead at 10 going to the break. Tops all scorers. He hit the first 2 from downtown to get Tech going. And Darian Williams dribbled it off his foot to start the second half here. Just the 6th turnover by the Red Raiders. You know, Oklahoma State shooting 50%, but can they just hang on to the ball?
Hey, if you followed Oklahoma State, I mean, they shot 46% against Arizona and shot it well in the first half here. I mean, that is way better than the numbers have been most of the entire season. So, but they're a team that is very capable, but you have to piece it all together.
Dean at the very end of the shot clock didn't draw iron. And it's a shot clock violation.
Yeah, it's the second one of those. You saw it in the first half on an underneath out of bounds play. Again, to me, that's the responsibility of the players out front. That's Keller and Dean having to understand time and score, the clock shot clock situation.
Hawkins couldn't hit off balance. Thompson gliding. Oh, Thompson had it cocked and heading the other way. Offensive foul is called. First foul on Bryce Thompson. So can't believe it.
Yeah, he pushed off when he attacked the rim right there. That was blocked.
Whistle look from Steve Lutz as well. Williams got hit, and the foul is called here. Now, Darian Williams, 5 points on just 2 of 8 shooting in the first half. Mentioned the previous 2 games, again, both Tech wins, averaging just 5 points, 4 of 18 shooting, 0 of 6 from 3. Did hit a 3 in the first half here today, but brings so much to the table, such a unique skill set that he offers.
Yeah, and you mentioned it at the tip that Tech, they're able to survive with Williams not having a great offensive night. And quite honestly, Grant McCaslin doesn't want this, but they can, assuming they're defending and taking care of it, survive if Toppin doesn't go have 15. And that's the versatility, balance, and prolific scoring on the offensive end. See, the thing about Williams, the last 2, that means nothing to Steve Lutz because the reputation and history is already there, and then the versatility that he has puts pressure on you defensively, even without him scoring.
You saw with Williams at the line, Grant McCaslin had the long talk with Elijah Hawkins, pulling him after that wild shot didn't go down. Anderson took his place. Keller on the attack. Whistle blows here. And McMillan picks up the personal. His first.
Yeah, I do think you watch Oklahoma State offensively the last couple of games. The ball movement has been better. Spacing has been a little bit better. Bodies have moved, cut hard a little bit better. That was an example right there on the Keller drive.
Nine on the timer. Jennings, the former Red Raider. Walled off by Williams, and Jennings way off.
And perfectly defended by Williams. You're going to let Jennings have that three-point shot. You protect the drive first.
McMillan got his man in the air. Yeah, back to Darian Williams defensively.
Watch this right here. You remember the first play offensively when Jennings drove it, laid it in? You know, Williams was hugged up beyond the three-point line. You don't want to do that. Good adjustment. The reason we show you that is Grant McCasland needs Williams to continue to improve defensively in one-on-one situations. So in the film room tomorrow, they'll point that out and love that out of him.
Thompson stripped by Kerwin Walton. And a steal for Texas Tech. Oh, Anderson from way deep. Oklahoma State in transition. Thompson. Keller barreling, and he scoops it home. Now, Jamyron Keller, a player with such a high ceiling, Brendan, native of Texas, was the 5A player of the year in this state at Colleen Ellison. And you can tell that he's a player that Oklahoma State can rely on if he can find some consistency.
You go back a year ago, nice pass right there. That's really good. Again, the tension right there of Williams. But no, you're right on Keller. When Bryce Thompson went out with the shoulder injury, missed the last 6 weeks of the season, Keller started the last 8 games. Played 30-plus minutes a night. It was really, really good.
Tapped out. Williams is saying, really? You sure about that?
Here's that last possession, Ted. Little post-to-post passing, if you will. See, Williams draws Usman to him, and then right there. Nice job of Toppin just waiting on that play to develop. That's an easy one.
Again, speaking to the versatility of Toppin, and Williams for that matter. Foul called. And it's against Anderson. And that's his first. What are you looking for offensively from Oklahoma State here?
Well, in the half court, I mean, the continued good ball movement and cutting, but Usman has to touch it. You have to find ways after some movement to get him the ball in the low block.
And Oklahoma State turns it over. Fouls against Khalil Brantley away from the ball there as Usman got the touch.
And again, that is a careless play, and guess what it counts there? I mean, it's a turnover.
Number 15 for Oklahoma State.
You know, and not that they're the best, but for the most part, throughout the season, they've taken care of it.
Yeah, they've been the team turning others over. Williams going to work against Marcellus Avery. Now trying to find Federico, deflected and stolen by OSU. Brantley, the LaSalle transfer, poked away by Williams. And out of bounds to Texas Tech. And a timeout with Tech up a dozen at home, looking for their 4th consecutive win.
As we...
Yeah, Grant McCasland knows what he has offensively. Texas Tech has shooters all over the floor, but the growth defensively has been so impressive during their 3-game win streak, Brendan. You see the numbers, what they have done. They have forced 16 turnovers here today as they've built a 12-point lead.
Yeah, and as talented as they are offensively, he knows they can score against a lot of teams, even good defensive teams. But you could tell as conference started, it bothered him, not just because he knew they had to get better defensively, but that they weren't where they needed to be defensively, because that's really in his DNA. You go back to North Texas, he and now current head coach at North Texas, Russ Hodge, that's what their identity was defense. And as you know very well, Ted, where does toughness originate from? It's the defensive end of the floor.
Williams pure from the mid-range. And Tech has its largest lead now at 14.
And obviously what was talked about at halftime is get Williams in some isolated situations against Oklahoma State defensively. He's touched it a lot here in the first handful of possessions.
Usman backing down Federico. Avery picks it up. Shot clock resets at 20. Keller slashing into a crowd. And cross off the rim, out of bounds to Texas Tech. Yeah, Graham McCasland said, can we scrap enough defensively? That is going to determine how we play. Back to the Darian Williams bucket.
Yeah, and they're going to like the matchup against Chi Avery. Obviously, Williams has more strength and girth, his broad shoulders. That's a great look at him right there, where he was isolated.
McCasland said, bottom line, can we guard the ball physically? That is going to determine how well we play this season. That was at the start of conference play. Late in the shot clock, a hoist by Overton and a rebound by Chi Avery.
Yeah, if you're intelligent about it, you can pressure the ball and still contain. I mean, that is doable. But you really have to be committed to it as an individual defender.
Usman with Anderson lurking with the double, and Federico got a piece of it. Oklahoma State hasn't scored in more than 3 minutes now. Williams the kick, and Hawkins short. Devontae Davis, the fifth-year senior, transfer from Arkansas, four-year starter with the Hogs out there. And a lob taken away by Darian Williams and a frustration foul on Abu Usman.
With a continued excellent defense from Tech. There's a possession ago. Watch Federico stays down, doesn't bite, and then he doesn't allow Usman to completely get over that left shoulder to get an angle. Used his length right there. That's an intelligent individual defensive play. You know, it's not just out on the perimeter, keeping in front, contesting, and making an offensive player go over the top. It's also on the interior.
Oh, now Federico off the bounce against Sumnick, and a foul against Oklahoma State. Now Federico at 6'11", offensively too. McCasland has said it this season, Brendan, he's not just a lob threat. He's someone who has a little more skill offensively than you might think at his size.
And once they were able to get healthy, where they could get Toppin and Federico out there together a lot, you know, it's important. He said this to you and I today. You have to be able to play a couple of bigs in this league together. There's no way around it because it's so physical.
Oh, Overton, nice look for Federico. So a little 6-0 burst here for Texas Tech, and Oklahoma State looking for its first points in more than 4 minutes.
Yeah, there's just very few times where this team offensively just makes a poor decision. Most of these guys always seem to make the correct play.
Thompson, little head fake, and he puts it home.
Yeah, Steve Lutz likes to do that with Thompson. Get him away from the ball, let the ball find him. Just get a little rub or a curl right there. We can get something manufactured downhill. He's not a guy that can take you off the bounce in a one-on-one situation. He needs a little momentum to the rim.
Now Toppin working on Sumnick. JT Toppin with the basket. He's got 8.
Yeah, that opportunity right now to see these two bigs for Tech play together. Toppin and Federico.
Chi Avery hasn't played a ton today, and he lost it. Foul called. Avery with his first personal. Hasn't scored today.
Well, one of the best teams in the country, certainly statistically in terms of assists. The ball moves, notice it doesn't touch the ground. No wasted dribbling. Defense trying to catch up, basket unprotected. That's a easy lay-in for the Red Raiders.
Repost for Toppin against Jennings. Off the double, swing it. McMillan. Cut off by Davis. And a turnover by Texas Tech. Good defense by Davis. Part of some NCAA tournament teams with Arkansas, made some deep runs. Now looking to help Oklahoma State make a run to get back in this one. Back in Lubbock, you would never know that Grant McCaslin's team is up by 16 points in the second half. He's always going to coach his team to the max.
Well, it's not just about being up 16 here on Sunday in Lubbock. I mean, there's a bigger picture to it, right? And obviously, they're in great shape. But they haven't been all that crisp. You look at the last possession when McMillan turned it over with after Devo Davis pressure. He also knows Oklahoma State's ability to come back if you help them. You did the game at BYU when they're down 27 and cut it to under 10.
Cut it to 3 in that game with a 22-2 run.
But you can't take possessions off. I mean, it doesn't matter what's going on in the ball game. And a lot of the reason that they've been able to be in this situation right there. Oklahoma State, that's their 19th turnover. And I bet you 75% of them have nothing to do with Tech defensively. And so going back to Grant McCaslin, he understands that. They've been given some gifts as well. It's all relative, right? You appreciate the big lead here at home, but are you doing it the right way?
Yeah, Tech has not been particularly sharp, really. Yes, they hit the threes to get the game rolling. They built their biggest lead off the miss. Federico with the follow. And now the lead up to 18. But there has been a hint of sloppiness throughout as well. Newman for three. Topping the skip, McMillan. Jennings hits the floor, couldn't corral it, and heading the other way.
Yeah, Oklahoma State dodged a bullet right there. That was a nice find by Toppin right there. You get that double team as a big coming inside, you have to handle it with strength, because if you do, you want to look weak side. And if you handle it correctly, you'll get that open look.
Feeding Usman, and a walk. Turnover number 20.
See what Federico did right there? As soon as Usman caught it, he retreated. He's like, I'm not going to let you burn me again on that spin move towards the baseline.
Grant McCaslin said it before the game, Brendan. We want to keep Usman guessing. Play him differently in the post. Usman hasn't scored here in the second half after he had 8 in the first half.
And when they've doubled, it's really been more of a dig from the perimeter. It's been delayed, and it definitely has kept him off balance at times.
See, Overton missed that three. Texas Tech had 7 threes in the first half. They're 0 for 6 from downtown here in the second. There's Usman from the foul line, and he's in double figures with 10.
Yeah, great little face-up right there. Again, if you're Coach McCaslin, you would still rather him catch it anywhere outside about 6 feet. You like your chances there.
Overton gets fouled by Jamiron Keller. First on Keller, the sophomore.
Yeah, Oklahoma State regroup a little bit. They're a mini run away of getting it back to being interesting. But they're also that type of run out of a mini run. You know, those 8-2, 9-4 type shifts. But the other side of it is you allow Texas Tech one more of those, I mean, you're in trouble.
And Overton will have one more. Tech in the bonus here. Overton, member of the all-freshman team in the Missouri Valley last year with Drake. And Grant McCaslin says he is our best on-ball defender by far. And coming off the bench, man, what a pickup he has been out of the transfer portal.
Well, defensively, 6'5", good length, physical, committed, and loves to defend. Yeah, they absolutely love him. Then offensively, he's the guy who can score bunches. He was great at Cincinnati in his 14 points on 5 of 7 shooting. So he's a legit two-way player, which is going to continue to just get better and better. I mean, he's going to eventually be one of the better players in this league.
Now Walton commits the foul. That's his second. Thompson on the drive. And Thompson is fouled. And at times that can be Oklahoma State's best offense. Bryce Thompson making his way into the paint, trying to create.
And this seems so simple, but it's true. The ball swung crisply, quickly. The defense has to shift. You have the right spacing. Obviously, you have the attention drawn on Usman inside, and so you get a ball reverse attack. Obviously, the defensive rotation where Tech was slow, but that has been a way that Steve Lutz has been able to get Bryce Thompson going here the last handful of games.
Thompson not distracted by the Raider riot there.
When has Thompson got himself in trouble? When he's been one-on-one, trying to go through traffic, turning his back when he drives it. He needs some space, and when he gets it, he's really good.
There's Thompson again. Keller backs it out. Thompson again on the attack. Too strong, but another foul.
Okay. Perfect timing to continue what I'm saying. So Thompson originally catches it on the right wing in an isolated situation, okay? Doesn't take a dribble, moves on to the next thing, a little ball movement. Now the defense has shifted. The ball finds him again. He gets downhill. That's called letting it come to you. And, you know, the basketball guys, when you play the right way, you'll get an opportunity. He passes up that one in secondary transition, doesn't force it, moves on, gets it back. That's good. That's good.
And you see the numbers at the line for Oklahoma State this year, 11th in the country in both makes and attempts. They lead the Big 12 in both of those categories. There are players on this team, Bryce Thompson at the head of that line, who can make things difficult on a defense in those opportunities, like you see Thompson has taken advantage of. Oklahoma State trying to whittle this lead down a little bit more. Keller able to regather. And Thompson with the friendly bounce. So Bryce Thompson putting together a little run for the Pokes.
That usually happens at home, right? Little member bounce at your home country club.
So Thompson in double figures yet again. Federico is fouled. So Oklahoma State on a little 6-0 run here to cut the lead to 12. And we hit the official timeout.
Well, Oklahoma State trying to hang around. Bryce Thompson, last few possessions getting involved for Steve Lutz. See if he can continue that trend here.
Under 8 to play. Texas Tech trying to take this to the finish line for a 4th straight win. Oklahoma State has scored 6 in a row. You know, Steve Lutz in year 1, he was hired late around April 1st and put this team together. 13 newcomers, had to build it on the fly. You contrast last year, youngest team in the Big 12, and Mike Boynton's last year, all those freshmen. This year, one of the more experienced teams in the Big 12 as Steve Lutz dipped into the portal. He said it yesterday, hey, I have learned a lot of lessons. I know exactly now heading toward what will be a full off season, what it's going to take in the Big 12 night in and night out.
Yeah, and I think what was there when he was hired, and I think it made complete sense, is he tried to go find some guys with some toughness that could grind, maybe had a little experience at this level. And you look at Jennings and Sumnick, those are kind of dirty work guys. Davis had a tremendous reputation as a defender. He was all SEC defense at Arkansas in 23. Brantley and Dean are not elite guards offensively, but they had some toughness. But what's happened is collectively they haven't been able to get there.
Darian Williams down after Arturo Dean scored. Man, can't put much weight on that right leg.
Well, you hope what is positive. He's obviously feeling it, but he hopped up under his own accord. Here's a look on the Dean drive right here.
Came down, oh
yeah.
Man.
Back, or that right foot on the heel of Dean.
So Williams off the floor. Tech loves to play through him offensively, and they turn it over with him back in the locker room now.
Man, Federico had over a foot on Dean right there. Isolated. Just, hey, take your time. Go over one of those shoulders.
And McCaslin pulls Federico, puts Toppin back on the floor here as we near the 7-minute mark. Tech is led by as many as 18, up by 11. Dean hits again, and the lead is down to single digits.
Well, defensively, Tech goes behind right there. Dean, a couple of really good offensive plays coming out of the under 8 timeout.
Dean, the FIU transfer with back-to-back buckets. Toppin from the outside. Keller comes down with it, and a foul on Kerwin Walton. Number 3 for Walton.
And Grant McCaslin right here, Ted, getting Hawkins back into the game. What you're telling Hawkins is obviously you go guard the ball, but offensively you get us good looks.
Dean turning the corner. Again, Arturo Dean with a foul this time. A chance at 3 for the smallest player on the floor.
Well, Dean, not typically a guy you're going to hand it to and go make plays, but successful a couple of possessions before. Rotation is slow over by Anderson. Let's get a little ball screen right here. See, Anderson should have already been over to help right there. And Dean, who is playing with a lot of confidence here offensively as of late, able to get the contact and convert.
And it's a 6-point game just like that. Tech led by 18 just 3 minutes ago. Tech trying to spark something offensively now. Hawkins trying to find Toppin. Deflected and stolen. Ahead to Keller. Usman lost it as he spun against Toppin. Hawkins open in the corner. And heading the other way with a foul on Texas Tech.
Boy,
it's on Toppin.
Yeah, and a real opportunity for Tech. You know, when Usman spun and turned it over, he went to the ground. So you have numbers, not only numbers. Oklahoma State's big, not in the mix. You know, so that's an opportunity to drive it, get to the rim. get something in the paint.
And Brendan, that's now 4 on JT Toppin. Takes a seat. So Jamiron Keller at the line, shooting 1 and 1. An 82% foul shooter. One of the best on the team. Back to the foul on Toppin.
I'll tell you what, he had his hand on Keller, but he never really extended. That's a tough one right there.
It's not much there. Keller goes 1 for 2. 5-point game. 5.5 to play in Lubbock.
Tech's got to get something down here. You have to get a paint touch.
And again, no Darian Williams after the apparent ankle injury a couple of minutes ago. Five to shoot for Hawkins. Federico on the roll. They can't connect on the lob. On the run out, Arturo Dean spins it home. Oklahoma State keeps fighting. It's a 3-point game and a timeout for Texas Tech. It is absolutely a game again here in Lubbock. Just over 5 minutes to play. Oklahoma State on a 16-1 run. And the play that led to the Texas Tech timeout, Brendan, emblematic of who Oklahoma State wants to be under Steve Lutz.
Well, there have been engaged recent possessions defensively. Great job of Keller, weak side help, understanding that Hawkins wanted to get Federico on the lob. And then as you're alluding to, Ted, Oklahoma State in transition is so fast. Dean is a jet, Keller can run, Brantley, etc. The problem for them at times this season is not being able to get the stops or turn you over. But in this run, they are doing that. You have a one-possession game here.
From down 18 to within 3. And remember, Grant McCaslin was lighting his team up when the lead was double digits. And ever since then, Oklahoma State has just kept climbing back.
Well, go back to when Grant McCaslin was wearing out his team in the timeout when Tech was up 16. See, it didn't feel right to him. You guys aren't engaged. Don't let them back in the game. They've done that. And you throw some other dynamics in. Williams out of the game. You have Topham with those 4 fouls, and Federico has 3. So he has to manage that as well.
And now Bryce Thompson hitting the deck, coming up with it. It is a jump ball. And the arrow pointing the way of Oklahoma State.
See, here's another thing I think you lose when Williams is not in the game. Just his presence, his toughness. And that exudes through Tech's lineup.
Dean's had the hot hand for OSU as of late. Now Usman. Back to Usman. Dean launches.
See, right there, you know the ball twice to Usman. Dean and Keller have got to exchange to make that defense move.
Chance McMillan with his first points of the second half. Big bucket for Texas Tech. Crowd coming back to life. Usman with space. Missed the layup. And a foul. Usman with his second. That close to making it a three-point game again. Timeout here in Lubbock.
Arturo Dean, Oklahoma State. He's only had 3 games, now 4, where he's scored double figures all season long, Ted. But he's gotten it going here down the stretch, combined with stops defensively from Oklahoma State. Dean's been able to get downhill in the half court. Here's one in transition. 11 points, 9 here in the second half, all in this little stretch. And you know, when you go on the road in this league, to help you win a ball game, you have to have somebody step up potentially offensively. That doesn't always do that, or that's not part of their game. And Dean has certainly done that here down the stretch, giving Oklahoma State life and very much a chance to win.
Yeah, known as the defensive catalyst, nation's active leader in steals, going back to his time at FIU. Steve Lutz's first commit when he took over here at Oklahoma State. He averages 6 points a game, and yet he has 9 of Oklahoma State's last 10 points as they've cut what was an 18-point deficit down to 3 at one point, within 5, and the lead is 6 now with Federico hitting the line.
Steve Lutz talked about Dean. You know, he'll say he's by no means a perfect point guard, but he's always loved his competitiveness, his energy, and it feels like he can always count on that at both ends. And you've seen it here this second half.
We saw Darian Williams is back on the Texas Tech bench. He went up the tunnel to the locker room after that ankle injury earlier in this second half. Keller finds the cutting Dean. Too strong with it. Would have been a tough finish. So Williams on the bench. JT Toppin also on the bench with the 4 personals. Anderson, the freshman. And a foul. And that's on Usman, his 3rd. Now, you saw how frustrated Williams was exiting to the locker room. Hopefully, for Texas Tech's sake, okay, but will he be available here in the last 3:14 is the question.
And Grant McCasland electing to, I mean, he's still buying his time with Toppin over there. With 3:14 left. And one of the concerns with Toppin is defensively he still has some growth there. And obviously if he goes back in, Oklahoma State would wisely go at him, probably through Usman. So Grant McCasland just kind of taking it possession by possession right now with him.
7-point game, 3 to play. Thompson, shot clock dwindling. And Thompson hits a tough shot over Kevin Overton.
Well, a nice little 2-man play right there between he and Usman. And Usman allowed him to get just enough space because he rolled hard to that block so Thompson could get into some rhythm.
5th straight game, Bryce Thompson has scored at least 15 points. He leads the Pokes again today. Overton for 3. Money! He bangs it in. And now a foul on Kevin Overton. Try to keep up with Thompson again.
Here's Thompson again. See, there's the roll, and it stretches. See, it stretches Federico because of the space Usman created. Thompson makes a tough shot, and this is what you want out of Hawkins. That's game management, head up, stretch the defense out, and find a shooter open in the corner for a good look.
Thompson nails the first. One more for the 5th-year senior from Tulsa. Yeah, that was Overton's first 3 of the game. He was 0 for 3 to start, but 35% on the year. Again, it seems like it's somebody different every game from the perimeter for Texas Tech. And Thompson cuts it back to 6.
Let's see what Grant McCasland draws up right here.
You see that 3 by Overton was Tech's first 3 of the second half as the foul is called near half court. Usman trying to dig deep there. He picks up his 4th.
And you don't mind them blitzing that right there and double. In fact, they've had success with it all afternoon. But Steve Lutz is telling him, why are you reaching? As soon as you reach 45 feet from the basket, Kip Kissinger's got to call that. Steve Lutz understands.
So now Christian Anderson at the line, shooting 2. 82% on the year. Spent his senior year at Oak Hill Academy, the legendary high school program, the tiny town in Virginia. He's a 3-star prospect, originally committed to Michigan. And switched after Juwan Howard was let go.
And just like right there, just carries himself like a seasoned veteran.
Not your typical freshman at all.
Plays beyond his years for sure.
Under 2 to play. Dean picking up the dribble. To Thompson with 5. Thompson hoisting. Loose ball. Texas Tech has it. Dean was on the line.
Yeah, boy, great effort. If he's in bounds here, he's probably going to get a foul call, but right there, that right toe on that baseline. Like Tech obviously has work to do. They have to handle this full court pressure from Oklahoma State with maturity. They have a spot throw in down on this end.
And we're going to have a review here. So Kip Kissinger and Ray Natility are there at the scorer's table taking a closer look at this. And yeah, check the right foot of Arturo Dean as he tries to collect it.
Yup. They'll check that, and while they're there, make sure the time is correct.
Yeah, so they confirm it. It is Texas Tech ball.
Now, one thing to keep in mind is, assuming Tech handles the pressures, really good free throw shooting team.
Yeah, the best in the conference and one of the best in the nation is Toppin with those 4 personals still on the bench, along with Darian Williams, smile on his face. Overton gets it into Federico. That's the one you want to foul, and Oklahoma State does.
Well, they get exactly what that is, so well executed by Oklahoma State. Deny everywhere else, allow him to catch, put Federico at the line.
50% on the year and 2 of 4 today. You know, coming in, he was actually 8 of 11 over the last 4 games. And left the first one here way short. So Usman got the brief breather, getting the 4 personals himself. And Usman back on the floor.
Yeah, and Usman and Jennings there in that low position. They can't take this for granted, making sure Overton and McMillan are blocked out.
And Federico missed them both. Still an 8-point game, under 90 seconds. And a timeout for the Cowboys. So 8-point lead for Texas Tech, 1:27 to play, looking for their 4th straight win. They've built this resume brick by brick. Nothing really stood out in the non-conference, but a road win at BYU, ending a long home win streak there in Provo, then a home win over Arizona. But when that was and will continue to look so good as the season plays out. Right now, Joe Lunardi has Tech as a 6th seed, and you know, the 4 losses, Brendan, are by a total of 11 points, 2 of them by just 1 point.
Yeah, I'm going to say a tough one against St. Joseph's in Brooklyn. That was about the 3rd week of December. The A&M game, they don't have JT Toppin. And Grant McCaslin making excuses, but you have to think that he made an impact there. They have more than taken care of business. Now, this one today, if you don't finish, this one would stink. Red Raiders need to close out here in Lubbock.
Keller getting in deep. Foul called against Texas Tech. And so Federico picks up his fourth. And 2 shots coming up with Oklahoma State in the double bonus.
Nice strong drive right there by Keller. So other than getting a lay-in, that's ultimately what you can ask for. Something downhill, chance to score points with the clock stopped.
And Keller's such a good free throw shooter. Can make it a 6-point game here.
And a chance to get this to go, set up your full court pressure if you're Oklahoma State.
In and out. JT Toppin is at the scorer's table, ready to come back in for Texas Tech. Grant McCaslin wants a timeout, and it's granted.
Yeah.
I mean, Tech is that close to turning it over there. 10 seconds trying to get it up the floor, but they just get the timeout as they moved it across.
Yeah, Grant McCaslin came out like a shot right there. Why is he getting the timeout before a potential 10-second violation? You know, I thought Oklahoma State on the rebound, Federico had that defensive board. Thought they might try to foul right there. Federico, nice job of getting it out of his hands quickly to a guard.
I mean, this is still an eternity remaining. Remember yesterday in Lawrence, Kansas up 6, final seconds of overtime, couldn't close it out, Houston winning in double overtime. But take another look here. Again, approaching that 10-second mark, the shovel by Hawkins into the forecourt. McCaslin wanting the timeout. They get it called just in time.
Yeah, just in the nick of time. You can see at the top of your screen, Grant McCaslin getting Kissinger across the floor, had a great view.
Yeah, so Toppin back in now, again with the 4 personals. Just 8 points here today, coming off back-to-back 20-point outings.
And that's to get Federico out because of the free throw shoot.
Hawkins loses it. Davis could not secure it. Texas Tech ball.
Boy, Hawkins just lost his footing, lost control of the basketball. Usually really secure with the rock.
Here we go, 4 wide as you see Tech players lining up as receivers, outfitting on Championship Sunday in the NFL. I think of Grant McCaslin and Scott Drew staff at Baylor running this all the time. In late game situations, they get it into Hawkins. Under a minute to play, and Hawkins is fouled. A 92% free throw shooter. Hawkins takes his first trip to the line here today.
Yeah, great execution right there. Obviously, not only that, you get Hawkins a little downhill steam, chew off a few more seconds, in addition to getting himself to the line.
It's been another tough shooting day from the field for Hawkins. 1 of 9, including 0 of 6 from 3. But so good at the line this season. And in and out. Just the 4th miss of the year for Hawkins. He's 34 of 38.
So if you're Oklahoma State, regardless of the result right here, you just have to keep extending the game. One thing they do have is Steve Letts has a couple of timeouts left in his pocket. I mean, you're pushing and getting the first good look that you can.
And there's the timeout. So the penultimate timeout for Steve Lutz with 57 seconds. Oh, we're closing out the Big 12 weekend. And we take a look at Joey Brackett's updated numbers in the league. Of course, the SEC, what an absurd season they're putting together right now. Joe has 13 teams in, but 8 from the Big 12 at the moment, and a number of teams hovering on that bubble. And yes, it's January, but it's about time to take a peek at those numbers and the resumes that teams are building. So 57 seconds left. Texas Tech by 8. What do you expect out of the timeout here for OSU?
Well, obviously, quick hit. And you're probably going to get a ball screen up top on Dean. But you have to try to get downhill.
Into the hands of Thompson. He's got a game-high 17. Keller got his man off his feet, missed the 3, and it's out to Texas Tech.
Yeah, Steve elects to go for the 3. And being down 8, under 50 seconds. Not a bad move. Keller right there just rushed it a little bit. He had a little overzealous closeout, good ball fake. Probably could have gathered himself just a little bit more and get his legs under him.
I saw Tony Padilla twirl his index finger. I think they're going to take a look at this just to make sure they got this right. Rule Texas Tech ball on the floor. So to the monitor they go. Tony Padilla and Kip Kissinger. So they're going to look at the clock. That's what we're hearing. Right now, 42.8. Yeah, they might add a second here or thereabouts.
Couple of tenths.
Again, where does the ball land out of bounds? Clearly Texas Tech ball. Not looking at that, just making sure that they have the clock right in this case. And sure enough, they add a few ticks, not quite the full second, but now 43.5.
See what Grant McCaslin does on this inbound. Remember, 4 low last possession, was able to get it into Hawkins' hands.
Once again, with 4 receivers running routes, finding the curl and Hawkins, and boy, he just saved it there. And Anderson's fouled with 40 seconds. Man, Hawkins almost turning it over there.
Boy, fortunate again. Great pressure by Oklahoma State. But a little bit shaky in the exchange. Ted, when you go away against pressure like that, you come back to it. You've got to go right at your defender, at his chin, and then cut hard out. You can't take a wide route because the passing angle is poor. That's what happened right there.
And Anderson drops in the first. Can make it a 10-point game with 40 seconds remaining. As once again, Grant McCaslin sends in Federico here. Brings out Toppin. Defensively. Keller beating everyone down the floor. Federico erases it. And a foul with 32.9.
Wow. It looked like Keller was able to slip by Tech.
Usman fouls out after Federico recovers defensively.
What a play right there. Boy, length, timing. Great job by the big fella running the floor.
Second block of the game for the Pitt transfer. And McMillan missing the first here. Again, the best free throw shooting team in the Big 12. Now 11 of 20 at the line today.
And a couple of their best, and McMillan and Hawkins missing some. Good thing there was enough enough cushion.
So the lead back to double digits. Again, you see the final numbers for Usman. Fouling out, facing his former coach when he was at North Texas. Dean against Federico. That's tough. And Texas Tech has it.
Yeah, Steve Letts tells Oklahoma State, no foul here. Hey, great effort by Oklahoma State, Ted, to get back into it, got it to a possession. I know Grant McCasland won't be pleased with some of the things in the second half, but never apologize for a win in this league.
Sloppy at times,
yeah.
but Texas Tech